What are we doing?
Hello.
Hey, we're waiting on it.
I
We're
don't know what
waiting
to do with
on
my
it.
hands.
Got
Oh,
see
man.
little eyes up there. Still not live.
Is he ready to drink?
Maybe. Not
Is he
yet.
ready to drink on
Oh,
camera?
there it is.
There it is.
Mhm.
Still not live on YouTube, but are y'all ready?
Yep.
Mhm.
Here we go. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 56. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we have Keith with Ahonui Artisans.
What?
Did I get it right?
Hello.
What's up,
Did I
y'all?
get it
How are
right?
you guys doing?
Did I get it right?
Say it again. I got to hear it.
Ahonui.
No, that's not right.
Nah, terrible.
That's right. Yeah, that's good.
How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing well. You know, we actually did a really a cool thing with the name to see if anybody could pronounce the name correctly. So we have a lot of fun with that. So it's always interesting to hear the pronunciation of the word. So yeah.
I can't wait till we get to Jamie, but we're gonna get it started, and we usually get started. Give us a background. Tell us how all this got started.
Wow, holy cow! Where do I even start? So I'm a lot like all the makers that are out here, right? I'm a woodworker first, and just kind of started, doing a lot of this and creating small little charcuterie boards and things like that. And special shout out to my good friend Danny Villar that owns the woodshed. I'm actually in his space right now in front of our rack, but he opened up the woodshed, and I would go in there and the open the world to live edge material and slabs and all this unique wood, right? I have always been a go to Home Depot or Lowe's guy, and just regular construction grade lumber. And I think just like everybody, you go down the YouTube rabbit hole and you start looking at all these really cool things that people are doing. And I found this one guy on Facebook that has live edge slabs. I'm like, who is this dude? And I found out he's literally like 5 minutes from my house. So I jumped over here and came to and met Danny for the first time. And if you ever meet Danny and you ever come visit the woodshed, he is just a classic guy. And it probably is part of his charm, but part of his, he just sucks you in because he's like, no, grab that, take it home and build something cool. And that's kind of how it started. I was looking at these massive slabs that are all in this shop, and I didn't want to be breaking off $1,800, $2,000 for a slab, just to try something. But classic Danny fashion, he found a piece of scrap, and he's like, yeah, take that home, see what you can do with it. And and I'm pretty meticulous on building, and I didn't even know about the forms at that point. I just kind of winged some plywood together and made something, and just mixed these chemicals together, this epoxy, and added some, I think Caribbean blue is the color that everybody starts with, right? That's the magic color. So what's that?
It's the best.
It's the
She
best.
loves
Yeah.
blue. She loves blue.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
That's her color. That's her color.
So I poured it in. I made sure I mix it, really, really well, and then poured it in, and it actually hardened up, and it was all good, and ran it through a planer, and it was pretty cool. So I still have that same piece today. I use that in my class when I teach here of things not to do, because it's that piece. But just kind of started talking about this market and these industry and this this area, and there's a lot of great makers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If all the viewers know where we're at, we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, in Arlington, South Arlington. So he said, hey, I'd love to do some classes. And I'm like, well, I'm in sales and I like to talk, so let's see if we can make this work. And it actually has been fantastic. We've been teaching classes for about 3 years now, and we sell it almost every month. So it's awesome. It's been a great journey. So that's how I kind of started going. Well, I was teaching classes in these forums, and just got to know the original owner of Ahonui Artisans, John Graff. And he's just a super cool guy. He came to a couple classes sometimes, and in the past, and just kind of got to talking. And we just through social media, you just reach out and talk to people, and just a super down to earth guy. And so we just talked throughout the years, and then he was just all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm shutting the lights off." And at that point, I had my shop and had the big CNC and the whole thing, and I said, hey, I reached out to him. I said, would you ever think about selling it? And I wouldn't. It's a phenomenal product and a phenomenal brand, and I wouldn't want it just to die on the vine like that. And so we went up to him. He's a Texas guy too, and we went up and started talking to him, and we just literally had a handshake agreement right there. And I'm like, oh, I guess I just bought a company. But it's been great. My business partner, Mark, he's kind of like the mad scientist behind the curtain, right? I make all the stuff, look good on the products we do, but he's extremely precise. The fits and the function of all of our products are second to none. He's just really, really good at that. So he balances me out a lot, which is great. So he's an engineer, and it's fun to have him on the team. So
Cool.
There we go.
yeah.
Thank you for being here, Keith. For everybody at home, my name is Jake Thompson from Northside Custom Crafts, and I usually do an icebreaker. My icebreaker for you today is, what is the worst anybody's ever butchered Ahonui partisans?
Artisan.
Right there.
I think right there. Yeah.
Jake.
Hawaii. So Blake at BM Sculptures. So I went to Workbench Con a couple years ago, and it was just asking people, how do you say the name of our company? And I think it was Ahonui. I think that's what he came up with. Perfect. Just go with that. So yeah.
Blake's
great.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Keith, for joining us. Everybody, I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. And thanks for giving us your background. One of my questions actually was going to be about the woodshed, because I see you post from there pretty regularly. And so one of my questions was going to be, is that under the Vierra Designs umbrella, or is just a partnership? So you've kind of answered that for us. So it's nice to know that background, and to know that people can go and actually take classes with you and use the forms and everything. It's pretty good setup that you've got going there.
Oh, it's pretty awesome. So I'll tell you, with Danny, he's great. He just kind of lets me run amok in here, right? I can do whatever I want to do, and I get people all the time and say, oh yeah, you own the woodshed, and I'm like, no, I don't own the woodshed. But I'm in here filming a lot, and post stuff, and with the classes and things like that. So Danny's like, just go do it, man. Just whatever it is. And I think even his kids, people were saying, yeah, that guy, I saw your dad on TV or on on Instagram, and like, no, that's Keith. That's not my dad. So it's kind of funny. So I'll tell you, man, just the woodshed and Dan and Ingrid as owners and the people that work here, they give back so much to the community and to these woodworkers, that are here. They make this just a fun place to be. Saturday morning, I'd tell you, if you come in here, people are just here just to kind of hang out, right? It's that type of environment, and we pour a lot into people, and just try to build confidence for everybody that's that's creating and making, and people ask me questions all the time, and I'm always answering questions, right? That's part of our thing. We just want people to be to be better and to really enjoy what they're doing, right? Because I'm a maker myself, right? I've always enjoyed when people give me answers and just help me along the way. So
Yeah. It makes for a better community.
yeah,
You know?
very much so.
Have a place like that. I wish we had stuff like that around here. That's pretty awesome.
Come on up, man. Come on up for the weekend.
You don't have to wish, just
It's
go.
worth it. Yeah, it's worth the trip. Yeah,
Just need gas money.
right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Never know. I may hit you up because we may be going up that way here pretty soon.
Come on. Yeah.
Can I rent a circle for him if I go?
Hey, for you, Jen, we probably worked a special deal out.
Yay!
Yeah,
Ooh, look at you.
you might get the Jess Crow deal.
Ooh.
my
Oh,
Here we
God.
go.
Look,
Here we go.
We won't hear the
I
end
like
of that.
Jess Crow too. Come on.
That's better than a coupon right there.
That's the best coupon ever.
That's awesome.
Well, everybody at home, my name is Matt Wackerle with Wacky Works. Keith, gotta ask you, what you have a quality product there. What are you using for your product, and how much product do you go through, say, on a monthly basis?
Holy smokes. Yeah, so we HDPE. So that's kind of pull this up. This is our coaster form.
Mhm.
And so we standardize on a size. And the MCAD material from of the HDPE material is really strong. It's a really high quality too. So if you look at our forms, they're extremely rigid and just the best material that we can get from this. And it's we're buying sheets. We buy it in bulk. There's a local place here in the DFW that we buy all the material, and we're buying 15 sheets at a time every couple of weeks. Of material. So, and not just the white. So we know for sure if but we actually private label a black form for a certain young lady.
Oh, look at there.
So we actually can do the black forms as well. And so these are private label for Jess. She's a rock star, and helped us. So the black forms are fantastic, and these forms are actually in all the woodcraft stores around the country. So that was kind of a neat thing for us, to be able to work that deal out with woodcraft and come up. But yeah, I think for quality reasons, we invest highly in the material, and then it's the seals that we put in, and just try to make it as user friendly as we can. And our concept is we want the makers to be makers, right? We don't want them to be expert form builders, right? And I think anybody can grab a piece of melamine and slap some screws in it and make it. But the concept when this was originally designed was to help the makers be more efficient and help their products just be that much better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Welcome everybody. I'm Jamie from JP Woodwork. So first of all, I'd like to publicly apologise for when we had Jess Grant. Actually, let me rephrase it. I'm not going to apologise for having Jess on because she's awesome. But during that episode, I called your company Ahonui. So that's what I want to apologise for. Anyway,
Well, wait a minute. You're not going to get away that easy.
Yeah, you got to say it right. You got to say it the right way now.
Yeah, I guess say it the right way. Yeah.
Does the name of your business mean anything in Hawaiian? Maybe the location or something else?
Okay, there you go. So yes, it does. So so the original company it's not my original company. This was actually created and started from John Graff. So he started Ahonui Artisans probably 6-7 years ago already. And the meaning of the word as he's just has always liked the word. So he's a Texas guy, right? He lives here locally in Texas, but lived in Hawaii. So it's a Polynesian word, and the word Ahonui means patience. So that's the word. So, and just kind of a neat little play on words with a turtle, is making up the O, and get a little bit of tribal in there. Just kind of it's a cool looking word. It's a cool sounding word when you say it correctly. But it's recognizable, right? It's it's not just John's company or Keith's company. It's it's kind of a recognizable thing. And John's, I think it was his cousin that actually came up with the logo and the design and the lettering, and it just kind of stuck, right? It just recognizable. We're out there.
And turtles are awesome too.
Turtles are awesome.
There you go.
Jake's a fan.
I'm a fan.
So
of
Keith,
turtles.
give us a rundown of the manufacturing or like your facility. I'm assuming you got a crew that's doing this. Is this like an everyday thing? How does that work out for you? Being that you have a full-time job, correct?
Right.
And
Yeah,
can you tell the listeners how that all plays out there for you?
yeah. So it's a great question. With our company, we're not we're not a big company, right? We have a couple guys. Mark and I are the owners of it, and we have guys that come in will help that we know, and they're not necessarily on the payroll. But when we get big runs, like if we're doing large woodcraft order runs or something, we're bringing in people to help us, and all of our components, as you can see, there's that we're adding nuts into these and screws, and they've got to be run through across the router table. So a lot of them, some of the great thing is I've got 2 sons that have a lot of friends, right? So we get some help that way, but hey, we're taking care of them too, right? So we pay them for coming in, and a lot of guys, and if it's big runs, we all just kind of pitch in, and my wife actually does a lot with the company too. So she handles the shipping side with Ship Nerds. So shout out to Ship Nerds too. They are fantastic. So they make it so easy for us to go in. Our platform is built on Shopify, and just make it super simple. The whole process is just really simple. So yeah,
just a big family.
Nice.
Get the family together, and then
we're just kind of just big hugging family. Yeah. So, and I get to be the lucky one that puts my face out there. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Speaking of hugging family, my daughter's out in the chat. Hello, Jackie Hole.
Hey, Jackie.
Aww.
Jack Hole. So you're talking about your machines, the CNC machine. What kind do you have?
Yeah, so we've got a large CR Unsrud, and it's a 60 wide by 12 foot long deck, and it's a big industrial size unit, and really when I first met Mark, my business partner, he was doing he does custom parts, so he's got his 5-axis machine in a whole nother room that he's doing really specialized parts, but he was using that big deck for sheet metal parts and all type of components. But on the side for the woodshed and for Danny, he was flattening slabs for people. So so that's kind of how I got to know Mark when I was just kind of starting to build some bigger things other than charcuterie boards that wouldn't fit through my planer. I asked Danny, hey, who do you know? And he's like, there, right up the street is, the guy that has a big CNC. So that's how it was. And that's kind of how we got together. But that machine is, it is a workhorse. And he can just absolutely make that thing do magic with it. So he's cut everything from metal parts to wood, to slab flattening, to the plastic, to the acrylic, everything. So,
what was the name of that machine again?
CR Unsrud.
CR
Unsrud. Oh yeah, Unsrud. Yeah, it's not a household name, but it's a big guy. So
pretty hard to pronounce, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah, right. It is.
Kind of got a theme going there.
Yeah, right. You're welcome. We do that on purpose.
Hey, what's that stuff that nobody can say? Everybody knows what it is.
I don't know. Just call Keith. I don't know. That's right.
So I want to circle around. I think one of the guys asked, "What is what's your average production numbers per month? Does it just depend, if Woodcraft is placing a big order, or do you have it pretty well lined out what you're going to need every month?"
Yeah, that's cyclical. The Woodcraft orders are big when they come in, and that really is great. We will make, I'll just talk about them real quick. When they give us orders, they're large orders that we're palletizing, we're shipping, and they go to their distribution center and then out to their facilities.
Okay.
So those are, those are running, and we're getting monthly orders, from them as they're coming in. And the white forms, they all come through Shopify, and it's pretty steady. I won't say it's nothing I'm going to retire on and quit my day job over, but it keeps us busy, and it's puts it out. So how many units a month are we doing? I don't know, probably 40, 50 units a month, something like that. So we get specialty stuff, and a lot of coffee table forms. The large is kind of our bread and butter form. That's the 12.5 by 20.5. It's kind of what the universal size. But the coaster is a big player, because a lot of times people will just order the coaster with the large. So it's we can just put this right in the same box with it. And but we actually do pretty well with our templates too. So got some templates back here, but we make these these templates for these are the wine caddies. These are great for the coasters and the wine bottle and the glasses here. So those are good. We have them on the shelf back here, the woodshed, and then this guy over here.
I like that those are a little bit thicker than you get from some of the other vendors.
Yeah, part of this is we want these to last a long time.
Yeah.
For you can put this on double back tape and cut out roughly to the size, and just zip this thing around the router table, and you've got this shape, literally in just a couple minutes. So you just take a Forstner bit right in here, and then put this thing on and spin this thing around, your router table, and you just got a really cool template with it. So
nice, real nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Heavy duty. What is it, like 3/8, half inch?
That's 3/8 acrylic. Yeah. So all of our templates are acrylic, and you can buy those directly on our site, or you can download the CAD file and just cut them yourself if you want. So we offer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Very cool.
So if you have a laser, you can do that yourself, huh?
Yeah,
Or
laser
CNC,
or CNC, right? Yeah, you can just program that in and just get what you need there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So Keith, you mentioned that you were a woodworker before you started getting into this. Tell me about your shop.
Wow. Well,
I'm sure it has dust on it right now.
Yeah, right. It started as my garage, right?
Yeah.
Just like a lot of us. And I'll tell you that the fine woodworking didn't come about till like 5 years or so ago, because I was actually building large pergolas and outdoor kitchens and things like that set at people's homes. And I've always been a kind of a creative guy, right? So I remember building stuff at my dad's house when I was younger, and just kind of doing stuff. And I remember one time I said, "Hey, Pop, let me borrow your lumberyard card." And I came back and it had all this lumber, and I made this, kind of a flower garden all trimmed in wood. And he's like, what are you doing? So I've always kind of had the knack for that. And the pergolas and outdoor kitchens, and it kind of started when, well, it's way back, but we live here in Mansfield, and we wanted a back patio on the back of our house, and I got bids that came in from contractors, and I told my wife, I'm like, I think I could build it, right? So I told Jill, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna build a back patio cover, and she's like, okay, whatever, I get that a lot. So I really started studying, how to do it. It's all rough cut cedar, and I tied it into our roof line of the house, and I went and got permits. I got it, got drawings done, and got them all done with the house, and I've got a pretty awesome cathedral style back patio on our backyard, and I did all the rock work back there, and then so other people said, hey, can you do that in my house? So that's kind of how it started and evolving into doing that. But I'll tell you, trying to hold down a full-time job and then going to somebody's house and creating a built-in kitchen for them is just a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
So I was always kind of just the creative side, YouTube, and of course I saw Cam at Blacktail, right? Who doesn't, have seen him. But Chris at Four Eyes, saw him, saw, Sawyer. There's a lot of guys that you just start watching that, and there's some of the craftsmanship and the workmanship that they do. And you're like, okay, I can do that. And not knowing if I could do it or not. But that's kind of how it started, and started getting into and they'll even say in their videos is you start with really good material, the end product always turns out nice, right? So, but you've got to be able to locate the good material. You've always got to know about dryness and the types of material you're getting, and as long as you're getting really good material, the finish out becomes easier, and you just put out a nicer product. And if you're very detail oriented, your end product is just fantastic, right? So
yeah.
I try to focus on the little details and little things for that, and that's kind of what I teach in the class. Here is just the little steps along the way. Will take you from being a good or an average woodworker to being an exceptional woodworker. If you follow these little steps and you do these things, you'll really just up your game, and people will start searching you out to do work. So in our class, I'll tell you, I think we've had it's been countless people that have started their own little companies, started their own little businesses, making things, and we've had people from retired people to mom and daughter teams. We've had contractors come in, all different people, throughout the years that have kind of come through it. We've had several people multiple times through the class, want to take it. And, it's just, it means a lot, right? It means a lot to them. They want to, they're learning something all along the way. And then to see what they produce on that far end, man, that's awesome for me to see and watch some of these people just grow into what their passion is. So.
Yeah. I remember, like you, I started out when I was really young, but I remember it was a lot cheaper back then when I was using their money.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
All right. So I asked Jess this question when we had her on the show, but obviously for the purpose of today's show, I've reworded it. So just to get your perspective, so you've already shown that you've got the Jess Crow signature series of molds. So how did the relationship with Jess come about?
Wow. Yeah. That's a pretty interesting story. We knew we wanted to do a black form, and John Graff actually has done a black form before, and he made a couple special forms for walrus oil. But they didn't standardize on it. They never, produced them for them. Made some special tag logos for them. But I always thought it would be really cool to have some type of unique form in there. And in my journey through YouTube and watching people, you can't help but come across a lady named Jess Crow. And when you're kind of watching her, what she's doing, and the artistry that she has in it, it was I think she was teaching at a woodcraft up in North Texas here, and I just had made a comment on one of her posts that hey, great work, we're fans. We start as fans, right, of people, and just said, hey, I'd like to come up and just see your class and see whatever. And it was just that kind of thing. And we walked in, and her hair is all crazy, and she's teaching class, and she's barking orders and doing all that. And I'm like, okay, that's how I pictured her, right? It's just running the show, right? She's just very in command of what she does, and it just kind of drew us to her. And I didn't pitch her right off the bat. It was just kind of introduce myself to her, and as a maker, and as this, and I think we just kind of we just started talking about it, just through some social media chats and things like that, and it just came up, and we set a time to have a conference call, the two of us, and just kind of work through, hey, what does it look like? Is it possible? Is it feasible? What's it for for her? What's it for us? And to be honest, it was just super simple. It was just super easy. She's very chill, and not high pressure, no heavy demands, and that's kind of how it kind of really blossomed into that. And in that transition, she was kind of moving, and then she moved to the Texas area. Then she started doing some stuff with the plant shed up in Denton, and she started doing some really unique stuff. And we brought her down. So I remember that the first time she came to our shop, we wanted to do some special things for her. And special shout out to Christy at Oak Hill Millworks. She does all of our tags. Well, had been doing our tags, since before we got it, and we just kind of carried it on. And Christy's fantastic. So I reached out to her.
She's all right.
She's all right.
She's all right. Yeah. I reached out to her, and I said, "Hey, can you make some tags for us?" And we got the logo, got the design, and so she knocked it out of the park, and she made this really cool logo here, right? Where is it? Well, you guys can see it. It's right there.
Yeah.
And that's Jess's true signature logo, and Christy was able to take the file and get it cut. And so we actually had we got some black material and put the forms on it, put these on there, and we had the whole spread of all the forms on our CNC machine. And she walked in, and she doesn't really know me from Adam. She's coming to some random shop in Arlington, and we're in an industrial park down the street. So I'm sure there was some hesitation, but you just kind of watch her body language and watch her eyes as she sees them, and and you can tell that she's like, okay, worthy to team with us, because she knew, just talking to Mark, she talks to Mark on quality and how that is such a high level for her, and to have that. So once she saw them, once she can actually touch them and feel them, and and see that they're heavy, right? They're heavy forms, and there's just a lot to them. So of course we sent I think a form or two with her, and I think she was flying out to go back, so we boxed them up, and typical Jess, she just took the boxes on the plane with her. I said, hey, I'll ship them if you need to, but she said nope. She put them on her rolling cart, and she just did, and just and checked into check luggage. So that's kind of how that started, and it's been fantastic ever since.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So obviously you're a busy man. Tell us how you balance work, your business, your family, because we all kind of go through it, and it gets pretty overwhelming sometimes with everything that we try to do. So that's gotta get at some point get real busy. So how do you take care of that? How do you do it?
I don't know if I do it well. It's
Good answer.
You just everything's there, and you're just trying to do it all at the same time. So I am lucky in the fact that my wife is phenomenal. She gives me a lot of room to be who I am, and this, and she's very supportive on anything that we've done. Our two boys are out of high school. They're both in college right now, so that there's no heavy family demand when it comes to any kids in the house. So
Right.
You know, if we were to try to do this 10 years ago, you know, it's a different ball game, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I check up on her. I make sure that, you know, she's okay. And then I take care of her. And, you know, it's funny when the boys went off to college, you know, because our lives are so busy at the time, you know, and we just kind of Saturday morning, we just kind of looked at each other like, oh, hi, my name's Keith. How are you? You know, it's like, what now? What, you know, and, so the balance is, you know, you just have to make it work, you know, and make this. And I do have a full-time job. So Mark, actually, he has a full-time job as well, but he can cut plastic during the day and then stack it all up. And the helpers that we have coming in, they can do some piece work for us along the way. And then I'll leave my office job and then go and go in the shop. And I still create, I still build. I do custom tables and custom pieces for folks. So there is, you know, you just find the time, you know, to get it in. And, you know, Mark will come to me like, dude, I'm done. I got to get out of here. and me too, right? There's just times like, hey, we got to get out of here. Friday is kind of our sacred day that, you know, we don't do anything on Fridays, and why Friday just kind of happened that way. But you know, it's time that Jill and I can either go to dinner or talk and spend time, you know, there. And I'm an early riser. She's a sleeper inner. So, you know, I usually get up and I'm in the shop early and you know, making stuff or putting forms together or doing whatever it is. And then, you know, I'm back at the house, you know, by noon or 1, you know, and by that time, you know, the house is moving and, you know, the dogs are crazy and, you know, we got to do yard work and we got to do, you know, stuff around the house. So you just kind of make it work. I think anything in life, if you truly want to do it, you could do it. You just kind of have to prioritize, you know, what's really important. Keep those right in the center, you know, make sure you're taking care of those things. And then, you know, it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. There's, you know, you just got to keep doing it. Sometimes there's a lot of late nights, but you just do it.
Keep improving your processes so you have more time.
Yeah, right. You know, and you keep bringing in the people that can, you know, do all the little mundane stuff, you know, the router table and, you know, taking the burrs off, you know, into plastic. That's, you know, that's mind-numbing work. But you know, the young guys and girls that we have working for us do a phenomenal job, you know, and really help us. And we just couldn't do it without them. So it's good. And I'll tell you that part of the woodworking process, you know, the sanding and the cutting and the measuring and the, you know, all those things from the woodworker side, those are actually their therapy, right? For me personally, I kind of, you know, some people just hate sanding. Not that I'm a big fan of it, but I could kind of get lost in it, right? I'll put my earbuds in and you just start going through the process and you're just making sure your craft is really good. And you know, you just really focus on the details, right? Because during the day, I'm a spreadsheet king, right? I'm deep into Excel spreadsheets and talking to customers and, you know, dealing with problems at work. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a break and, you know, to get there and, you know, just get home, shower, and just like, wow, that day went by fast. That's how it goes. So,
well, to follow up on that,
Go ahead.
how much time do you spend on the road? Do you spend a lot of craft fairs or shows, expos?
Yeah. So I'm actually with my company. I spend time on the road. It's probably 1 week or so a month for that. But for Ahonui, we really don't go to craft shows or craft fairs. You know, we rely on, you know, the internet stuff that we do, you know, and then in the local post and, you know, the advertising that I do just social media wise. Yeah, some of the, you know, I don't make a lot of products, you know, to sell charcuterie boards or cutting boards. That's, you know, it's not, I don't have that kind of time. Right.
Right.
So I'll make, I'll make custom tables. I did a huge church package for a church up in Plano, where it was a big chancel table and a podium and the cross for a brand new building of theirs. And that took me some time to do. I've done some custom tables for a local coffee shop here. So unique pieces. I've done a lot of retirement pieces. Then those get really unique and really special. You know, gun racks and gun holders, all out of wood and epoxy. And the great thing of people that are around here that know me, you know, they know that I like being creative and I like, you know, just coming up with something that's unique for them, right? It's a one-off piece, and you know, we just kind of dive into what they want. I do a lot of listening, right? What do they want? What colors do they want? Shapes, designs, sizes, and I'll ask a lot of questions and try to pull out of them what they think that they want, and then I'll just go through a lot of just conceptual designs and things like that. So
Nice.
Awesome. So I want to talk about the classes. Like, how do people sign up, and how many different classes do you offer, and normally how many people in a class, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the classes are special. Holy smokes, they're just really cool, and they just fill up themselves. So I'm going to go back to Danny, but that guy is a master marketer. If anybody's not following the Woodshed on Instagram and Facebook, you need to follow the Woodshed Texas. So there is a Woodshed in Fort Worth, but it's a restaurant. So yeah, don't follow them. And then April Wilkerson actually has a Woodshed in Waco as well. But the Woodshed TX here in Arlington, he does a great job with his marketing and just putting stuff out there. And to be honest, it's word of mouth. We've had people that have come down from Arkansas. We've had people that, you know, come as far up from the coast. We've had people that are visiting in from town. I've had people from California come in because they were visiting family that was here and they took the class. So, you know, it's, you know, me putting stuff out there, but Danny does a phenomenal job, and they can sign up at the Woodshed Texas and take the classes. And classes fill up, like I said, usually every month. And so like this month, May, we actually push these classes to June because it's graduation. It's, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Kids are getting out of school. And we know that, right? We just, you know, we know that, you know, people have got other things going on. And it's kind of cyclical, right? So it's Texas, it's hot here. So not a lot of people are, you know, in their garage making stuff in August, you know, in July. But you know, the classes are, for the most part, they're always full, and that we get 10 students is kind of what our limit is. I think at one time early on, we try to do a little more, but it gets to be a bit too much. So we break it up into 2 Saturdays. So 2 hours first Saturday, 2 hours the next Saturday. And as I tell everybody in the class, we go through a couple different aha moments in these classes. And, you know, the first aha moment is that time, you know, on Instagram where you're seeing, or YouTube where you're seeing the blue color. Jen, this is for you. The blue color going into your form, and the wood's there, and you know you've taken this dramatic shot where the epoxy is coming down. That's the first aha moment, right? So you've got that moment in the into the class. So we get to that stage at the first Saturday, and then the next Saturday, it's all about taking it out of the form, going through the process of going through a planer, going through a drum sander if you have one. The sanding steps. Sanding is so critical. And, you know, starting from the bottom and going up into the higher grits. You talk about finishing materials and, you know, all the little tiny holes and the, you know, being very precise. We go through the different types of epoxies through this stage, you know, so from a deep pour to a thin pour to, you know, quick set to like CA glue if you're, you know, filling the small little crevices. We spent a lot of time with that. We spent a lot of time on the sanding and sanding techniques. And I had my wife to help me sanding one time. She's like, yeah, I'll help you get this knocked out. And she was just all over the place with the sander. And I'm like, nope, you know.
You're fired.
You're fired, yeah. I got this, darling. Trust me, I got this. And we teach, it's very specific details, so that the other aha moment is the end of Saturday when we're putting the oils on the board and those colors just bang to life, and they're just all wow when they finally see their piece and they're done. So everybody in the class, during the week, the team here at the Woodshed will take them all at a form, and they'll plane them down and they'll sand them to 120, right? And that's a good general, it's a good finish. It's and we typically use just black walnut. So you start with a good quality product. It's black walnut never lets you down. It's always fantastic. It's easy to use, right? And they have them pre-cut, pre-shaped, and they're fit in our forms. Yes, we teach out of our forms for the class. So shocker. Yeah. So it's we want them to focus on the details, right? And the details for us are how to mix correctly, the ratio correctly, how to calculate the amount of epoxy, because let's be honest, it's expensive, right? And we want to make sure that people are not under pouring or over pouring their epoxy, but blending and the correct ratios are vitally important to a successful piece. If you really want a really good piece, you've got to go through those steps. And so we take a lot of time through there. But yeah, so the classes are fantastic. And we always tell people, shout us out on their socials, and they'll do that, and they'll pass the word along and say, hey, we've heard about you, this way, and they come to us that. So it's great. So our June is booked. We actually had kind of kicked around the idea of doing a complete design build class, kind of start to finish, in the whole class, in wood prep, the live edge sides, and what do you want to keep on this sides, and how do you take a full slab, and what does that wood tell you to do with it? We're kind of kicking around that idea, but there's a lot of just logistics that come into play there. So everybody in the class, when they take the class, the piece is already pre-cut for them, so there's no real wood prep to do on them. We talk a lot about wood and moisture content and deep arcing and the whole thing, but they don't have to do a lot to the pieces, but we educate them on what they're looking for. If they're not buying wood here at the Woodshed, they really need to be questioning the wood supplier and make sure that they're checking moisture content, and any wood supplier should be proud to tell you that, right? Because it takes a lot they go through a lot to get the wood, so the makers can use it, and the makers need to rely on that. So.
Yeah. With those classes, you teach out of your forms, but do they take it with them afterwards? Like the full class that Jess is doing at Woodcraft, you take the form home with you, so it's kind of built into the class price. Do you guys offer that there at your classes also?
Yeah, so no, we actually the forms are kind of shop forms, and so they stay here. They will actually take their charcuterie board home with them. So the cost price for this class is the 2-day class, and then they get to leave with their form. So
Nice.
Yeah, and the forms, so they get beat up pretty good here. So we'll go through and recondition them. We'll get them back over to our shop, and we'll kind of clean them up, and if they need a new bottom, or if they need new seals or gaskets, so. And the guys here at the shop, they know how to take care of them really well. So they'll go through and try to clean them up and put a mold release on the inside, just prior to every class, and just to get them so they'll last longer, the life of the form. So and we run them through pretty hard, right? We're constantly using them, and they stand up really well.
Yeah, I really like mine. I especially love the leveling that's built into them now.
Yeah, that is cool.
Super handy.
Right? Can you see that there?
Yeah, nice.
Genius.
It's nice.
Genius.
So I wish I could take credit for that. That's a John thing. He honestly, there's not much that we had to do to the form itself from a structural thing. And he had a brainchild. He was telling us about the seals, and I don't know if you guys can see the seal, the gasket, right? So the seals kind of run on this end piece here, and it's a cut piece. So the one thing that he wanted to do was make it easy for the maker, right? Because a lot of forms, if you build up your own form out of melamine or whatever, you've got to then take the whole thing apart, pry it apart, and do that. And you've pretty much destroyed your form. He wanted a reusable form, and then he came up with the seal option in here, and it's a cut edge seal, and it fits right in this groove right under here. So it's a nice sealing line. So when you take these things off, you take that end plate off, you put I start with a putty knife or a small chisel. You just get in there and you pop it right out, and the whole blank comes out pretty easy. You clean up this edge, you clean up that seal, and you put it back on, and you're ready to pour again. So super simple. He did a really good job on the actual design. We're just carrying the ball.
So do those have leveling legs on them, or like is there?
So the coaster does not. So you see the coaster does not. But if you see this guy, try to do this live, but
You got this, man. You got it.
You got it.
Okay, can you see that? So this is the large, and they'll do this in the woodshed. So they've got some nice olive wood in here, but these guys have the leveling feet down there. Can you see that?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are great, and these really help out a lot. And the levels that are on the side, it's on the other side. But you can get to a pretty precise level, and you could put a level across this thing. But they're cut in here, and they're meant to be leveled. But the feet just kind of screw out, screw down, and you don't really know it, but the flat piece of plastic as you're cutting it, you can do all these types of holes, but on the very top of this, there's a groove that's here, and it's a secondary process that we have to put this in. So not only groove, but the through hole that goes through, it's a threaded through hole in the plastic. So there's there's a lot of machining and a lot of thought that goes into making these forms and to last too. And we tell people that because the groove that's in there is whatever you do, don't pour in the groove, don't pour epoxy into that groove.
Yeah.
And because the legs just, once you do, that's you've got to come up with another leveling concept. But the levels, and we provide a little screwdriver. So our little kit here we provide these leveling blocks and the leveling bars that go across the top that just to keep the wood in. And we get a lot of people that are trying to crank down on these knobs, these guys right here, and it's just plastic, right? So it's a steel bolt, and it will pull right out of that plastic. So wood is wood, and it wants to float, but all you need to do is just simple pressure just to hold the wood in place. It doesn't need to be cranked down, but all of we'll supply these blocks with it, and we give a little screwdriver. It's got a place that you can actually fine tune the leveling right there at the feet. So just try to keep just the maker in mind as in our forms, and just try to make them easy for everybody.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple. That's pretty easy. I mean, it beats having a level and trying to sit there and do that, and just the adjustability. That's super, super awesome. It's an awesome mold.
Yeah. I think that anybody out there that's made their own mold, you battle with wedges and trying to put decks of cards or whatever you're trying to do. You got to figure something out, whatever it is. But yeah,
I know when I made some coaster molds just because I was doing some stuff here, and I actually used the knobs. I was like trying to figure out, I had all these inserts, and I was like, I need to make some leveling legs on there. And I had the knobs that you use, like I use on my CNC for hold downs, right? And I just used them, and with some T-bolts, and I made my own. It was just a quick deal, but man, that's pretty nifty there. That's pretty good design.
It's pretty good, but it's funny because we'll always see people will post pictures, and they'll tag us in there, which is awesome, and we'll repost and retag their stuff, but it's inevitable. You'll see the weight. The weights are a big player here. So the 5-pound weight, the 10-pound weight, they're a big player, and they usually have some type of tuck tape or Tyvek tape on the ends so they don't get stuck. But the braces across the top, they're really meant there as an extra convenience. for these forms. And we actually came up with a new design on the black ones. So this is our cigar ashtray one. So JD Customs, this design. So that dude,
He's awesome.
he's crazy.
Mhm.
He's ridiculous. So if anybody watches his stuff, he he is a kind of a master ashtray builder, and just the magic of social media, when you kind of get out there, he's like, hey, Ahonui, would you, sure could use this size, and so of course I had to reply back, and his end result of his ashtrays are a 10 by 10. So this is an 11 by 11 form, and it's 3 inches deep versus a 2.5 inch deep form. Sorry, 2-inch deep form. So we actually go a little deeper in here, so he has more room, to fill up in here. And then we took the channel, and we put the channel on the side of this, so our hold down will come up to this side. So this actually
Nice.
come up like this, right? So it's a little bit different design. And to be honest, it eliminates the secondary process of the machining process, right?
So you don't have to put a rabbet in the top of that HDPE.
Yeah, there's not, but there's still for the leveling holes, if you can see it here, we still do a secondary process, but the secondary process is a lot faster, right? So this is down for the leveling feet, and it's a threaded hole. So, and it's all done by CNC, but the cut time is a lot faster. So this design was designed by Mark, right? And so he did a great job with that and tie these down. So these come standard on these types of brackets come standard on our the cigar ashtray form and the coffee table forms come standard with a side there. And then it just eliminates, any chance for pouring epoxy in there. But
There you go.
Yeah, I will say that the cigar one is one of the molds that I have. And when I got that one, I immediately noticed that difference. I was like, oh, this is much cleaner and less worry,
yeah,
about getting the epoxy in that channel accidentally. So,
right.
yeah, I like them.
Yeah, it's good. It actually works out really, really well. And we get a lot of people, saying how much they do like it. So,
Cool deal.
So, Keith, being that you've only poured a couple times, can you tell me if you've ever had a failure? And
oh my gosh, yes, of course, right.
What was the worst one?
Yeah, the worst one. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. So it's hot here in Texas, right? So and my shop doesn't have air conditioning in it. So pouring, all manufacturers say that you can pour up to a certain depth and be good. Typically at a certain temperature and a humidity range, right? Not in July and August can you pour, 1.5 inches deep of epoxy. So one of my very first failures on a table build was a large conference table I was building for a client. And I was extremely lucky that in all my builds, I record how much dye pigment I'm using. So this was a dye. It was a smoke tint clear epoxy. So I record how many gallons and how much dye pigment I'm using per drop, right? So I could, if something happens, I can either top it off or I can do this. Well, I recorded all that, so I knew exactly what it was. And typically on a deep pour, it's going to be 72 hours, and you should be good. And you'll let it sit for probably another week or two, and just let it fully cure before you take it out. And you put it on the CNC, and you start finishing it, and the whole thing. Well, I poured that afternoon, and it was probably 95, 96 degrees in our shop.
Ooh.
And I poured it 1.5 inches thick. And I came in the next morning. So, and I had fans on the form. So, and like I said, this was a 12-foot table. and 48 inches wide. And I came in that next morning and I had a Grand Canyon. It was split and cracked, and those are the times that you wish you could blame somebody, you know. But total rookie mistake, right? Not understanding how, you know, the depth, and you think that you're going to be good, and but I actually recovered from that. So the great thing about epoxy is it's extremely forgiving, and you can, if you work with it and you know how to blend in the sides and, you know, do that, you can actually take a failure like that. I carved it, you know, out, and it created this kind of this valley where it was split and it was raised. I opened all that up like this, as shallow, I guess, of a cut, and then sand all the inside of there and cleaned it out thoroughly. Went back to my ratio of epoxy and ink, and made the exact same ratio. Poured it in, perfectly fine.
Cooler temperatures.
So yeah, no, it wasn't cooler temperatures. I put a tent over the piece, and I had air conditionings going. So, you know, when I say, you know, I've been there, ask me how I know, it's usually because I've totally screwed something up. And a lot of that time is you just have to find a way to, you know, make it work and figure out how to get through it. But yeah, so that was pretty intense. But the table, and really even today, that you can't tell. So
Camping thing.
Good
It was
save.
intense.
yeah, it was a good
camping.
save. Yeah, yeah.
Camping thing.
Sorry, I have to do stuff like that.
Yeah, you just have to. Yeah. Hey, but I've learned not to ask Jamie's opinion when I asked him if it's okay, if it's cold, if it's cool enough to pour. He told me, yeah, go ahead, you're good. And I took his word because he's, you know, been with Jake for so long. He should know the answer to that. And I should have waited for Jake to come in. I started pouring at 110 degrees ambient temperature. I didn't go so well.
Yeah, right.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was smoking like a tent, like you're camping. It was intense.
It wasn't a good idea.
I will tell you. So last year, I actually I work a lot with Total Boats, and they were really good. And you know, they know my shop is hot, and so I told them that I wanted to do a test on their Fathom and see how thick I could pour in the heat of the summer. And I remember during that test, I poured, and we took our molds and we kind of put them all on the table and poured from a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and I think I got to like 1.5 inches, and I knew it was going to be, it would be smoke after that. But I remember the shop being 108 in the shop, and we poured, but purposely, did that. And their Fathom product is actually a really good product. So the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch product really maintained its shape, didn't pull away from the sides. I didn't cover it. I didn't have any fans on it. So that actually did pretty well. When you started getting into the, a little bit thicker, the 3/4 of the inch, those started pulling away from the sides, kind of humping up in the middle. They all stayed fairly clear. I didn't have any wood in there. But when I got to the 1.5 inches thick, it actually broke in half and cut in half. So, so pretty wild. But I'll tell you, through all that, all of our forms, they all survived. So even at that hot temperatures, they came out. So kind of a cool test, to do. I was actually recording, and I got that thing on my phone that said that your phone's too hot to continue. Yeah, right.
Really?
That was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
That was pretty good.
So your phone knew better.
Yeah, my phone knew better. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not that smart here in Texas. We just keep going.
It'll work.
Yeah.
It don't matter what part of Texas either.
That's right.
North, middle, south, it don't matter.
We're all equally as proud.
We got it all
Exactly.
covered right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I'm pretty confident now that I know how to pronounce Ahonui. But I'm still struggling with something.
Okay.
How do you pronounce your first name?
My first name?
Yeah,
First name is Keith. Keith.
Keith.
Oh,
Keith.
that's
All right.
it's not Keith.
Keith.
It's not
Keith.
Keith.
Where I live, it'll be Keith with an F.
With an F. Keith.
Keith.
I think I've been called that before. So it's funny. One of the kind of funny story. My signature is like a third grader. So when I signed my name, I actually had somebody reply back to me in an email and said, "Thanks for the information, Beth." Where in the world did you get Beth? So my K was a little rounded on the top, and the E and the I looked like a U. So like Beth. There you go. That's so yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, pretty crazy. But
Well, all right. Well, it's getting to that time. If we want to do a speed round, or do we want to just close it out?
I think it's about it, man. Speed round's out of there today.
Yeah. I think we're
Well,
overtime already.
sorry to keep you guys so late.
No.
Good.
Good. Again, thank you, Keith, for being on here. And if you have anything coming up, let the listeners know. We got all your links down below. Y'all go give this gentleman a follow. The Woodshed TX. And
Yeah, the Woodshed
let
TX.
everybody know what you got coming up.
Yeah, thank you guys. And if you're not following Ahonui Artisans, check us out. We're constantly in. And if you're a maker and you're doing something out of our forums, please tag us because we'll shout you out and we'll definitely put you back on there. My personal page is Vierra Design Group. If you want to follow me as well. Interestingly enough, I'm actually building my first guitar. So electric guitar. So trying to go through that, and I'm getting. I've got a lot of guitar friends that are out there. So Ty at Shock the Fox, he's freaking awesome. He gives me a lot of the cheaters. So same type of thing, right? You know, we as makers pour into others that are just coming up. He's been fantastic, and anybody that I've asked have freely given some advice and things to stay away from or whatever. So I just love this community. It's just great. The people in it all want to help each other grow and get better. So just follow us, and if you ever have any questions, please reach out on any of the social medias, and we'll definitely try to help you guys out as much as we can.
Nice.
Awesome.
Jenny.
Well, thank you again, Keith. Really enjoyed chatting with you and getting to know a little bit more about Ahonui
Good
Artisans.
Very good.
This weekend, what do I have coming up? I'm thinking, because I don't have an event this weekend, shockingly enough, I'm thinking
Nice
about. All right, I like my shirt.
Yeah.
Thinking about doing a sale on my Instagram stories. So I've got stuff laying around that I've taken to different events, and so thinking about just putting stuff in my stories, and if you like it, message me and we'll do it that way instead of going through the effort of posting every single thing on the website. So
good idea.
Keep an eye out on Instagram for that this weekend.
There
Awesome.
you go. Matthew.
Well, I got a delivery Monday from Onefinity, and I got a delivery today from PWN CNC. So the table has been built, and I will be doing assembly for. I got a bundle of wires out there that have to go somewhere eventually.
Just plug them in.
Hey, just keep plugging stuff in, and
There
I'll
you
figure it out eventually when it moves.
There you go.
Jamie Pie.
All right, so as you can see, I'm back from Maker Central, and I've been laying concrete and in the middle of building a bar/summer house. So no turning for me at the moment, but I will be on cartoons on Saturday.
By golly.
Nice.
My God.
I'll be on cartoons on Saturday too. It's a show that me and Jamie do. He lets me do it with him every week. He'll be on there.
That's
We're gonna
that's
have
awesome.
Andrew and Joey on there. No, Andrew and Joey's not gonna be there. Andrew.
I'm
and
on
Jamie. I think
vacation.
I'm having a
He's
stroke.
on
I think.
vacation.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna be pouring silicone this week, a bunch of different colors. I'm looking at he's talking about leveling his molds. I'm looking over there with all the forms all leveled and ready to go. So we're ready. Got some giveaway stuff. Get in there, and we're gonna have some fun. Joey Gonzales.
I just dropped the video today on YouTube, so you haven't watched it, go check it out. Got some other things in the works that are going to come out that are pretty cool. Other than that, yeah, after today or tomorrow, I'm going AWOL, and I don't know where I'll be, but I'll be somewhere. But it ain't going to be in here.
Yeah.
Anyways, next week we're going to do a roundtable, I guess. We're going to have some sort of little chat amongst ourselves. And yeah, please remember to go out and give us a review on iTunes. If you please leave us a 10. We want a 10 while Jake's up there playing around with his MacBook. 10.
And
Remember to go check us out on podcast.com/Creative Makers Podcast. And until next week, Keith, thank you again for hanging out with us.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you guys for
We'll
having
see
me.
y'all next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces, and we are out of here.
See you.